Local broadcast of the following program is made possible by support from members of Rhode Island PBS in partnership with
the Rhode Island Foundation, partnering with passionate Rhode Islanders to lead, transform, and inspire our state. Learn more at rhodeislandfoundation.org.
Welcome to another segment of In Another Opinion, a public information program where our discussions are focused on the communities of color in the state of Rhode Island. I'm your host, Peter Wells. My guest today is President Frank Sanchez of Rhode Island College and Kimberly Conway Dumpson, Vice President for College Advancement and External Relations at RIC. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a tough time getting you on the show, President
It's taken a little while.
You've been
glad
busy.
we finally made it happen.
Well, we're glad you're here. Listen, Rhode Island College has developing a reputation for becoming the school of choice for high school grads of color. What's happening? What's make this turnaround?
Yeah, no, it really has. Well, the reality is, you know, as the first public higher education institution in Rhode Island, it was founded in 1854. And when it was founded, it was actually founded to not only train the next generation of teachers for the state, but really to respond to a growing immigrant community. And so it's had a long, long legacy of serving diverse communities and essentially the changing demographics of the state. But more recently, we have seen that more families and frankly more students of color are beginning to choose Rhode Island College as their first choice four-year college in the state. Just a couple statistics. So when I started, I just finished my third year.
It's been 3 years already.
It's been 3 years already.
Wow.
Yeah, it's taken a little while for me to get on the show, but I'm glad we were able to make it. But when I started, the freshman class that year was about 37% students of color. The following year, it jumped to 44%.
Wow.
This past fall, it was right at 50% students of color. And this coming fall, we're anticipating being well over 50%.
Wow.
And
That's
again,
great.
I think a lot of the families or students are looking at the quality of the programs that we offer. They're looking at the diversity, frankly, of the student body, and I think now a growing faculty and staff diversity as well.
What's we talk about the community of color. What's the Latino community base in terms of student body?
So student right now, it's right about 26%, 27%,
Okay.
and growing rapidly.
And growing.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you know, it's there's so many schools in Rhode Island. Number one, and they're good schools.
Mm-hmm.
So they're, you know, students do have choices between URI and of course CCRI and RIC in the city, but you offer a four-year degree, which obviously CCRI does not. And I know the governor's program, Promise program, gives them 2 years at CCRI, and then they can get, if it passes, and if there's money, I guess, they'll get 2 years of their junior and senior years, maybe at RIC.
That's right. So we're of course supporting the governor's new legislation for the Promise at Rhode Island College for a variety of reasons. One, it tells Rhode Islanders that if you're willing to work hard, put in some sweat equity, the state wants to help you get your degree. What's different from the CCRI program is that you must first, in order to qualify for the Promise, you have to pay your way for the first 2 years. You have to be on track for a four-year degree, which means you have to complete 60 credit hours for first 2 years of college, and then at least a 2.5 GPA. Once you've done that, then the proposal would cover your junior and senior year tuition and fees. I mean, this is really remarkable legislation. If it passes, and we're working closely with the governor, with the speaker, and legislators, if it passes, it could create among the most affordable four-year college degrees in the entire nation.
Sure.
I mean, imagine a $20,000 four-year college degree. That $20,000 is typically about 1 year of a college education today, and that is before Pell or financial aid or any kind of scholarship the students would be afforded.
So let me get this clear. If a high school graduate graduates and goes to RIC directly from high school, then they pay their first two, and then they get their last two with the Promise if they qualify.
That's right.
Okay, so it isn't 2 years at CCRI on the Promise program and then 2 years at RIC. on Promise.
That's exactly right. I think there's been a little bit of confusion in the media.
Yes.
They say, well, geez, now Rhode Islanders can get a four-year college degree free. That's not. By
That's not
going
the
2
case.
years at CCRI and then the last 2 years at Rhode Island College. The legislation is very, very clear. The only way you qualify for the RIC Promise is you must start at Rhode Island College.
Gotcha.
Your freshman, sophomore years, full-time student, 2.5 GPA, and then you can get your junior and senior year paid for.
Very good. That's excellent. Kimberly, I have to say welcome to Rhode Island. You've been here, what, about 8 months, 6 months?
Just about, just about.
And you're enjoying your stay, I gather.
I am. You know, Rhode Island hasn't taken a lot to get used to. It feels like home already for me. I grew up in a small town in Maryland, and I came from a place where everybody knew everybody, where your neighbors were the people that you went to school with, that you worked closely with, and that's the type of environment that we certainly have here in this state. And of course, it doesn't hurt that I have about 200 years of family history in this state as well.
That's really interesting.
Yes.
That's really interesting. So tell me, what is your role at RIC as the Vice President of External? I'm not even going to do it.
College Advancement
College
and External
Advancement.
Relations really is to be a champion to tell the story of this wonderful college. I have to say that it's just about a year ago that I met President Sanchez for my interview, and was really taken by not just the mission of the college, but also the enthusiasm that's building at this institution. It's been here, as President Sanchez said, for many, many years, since 1854, but still relatively unknown among Rhode Islanders. This is an institution that once started as a place where educators could be born and go out into the teaching profession, but today that's not the institution that has grown off of College Road here in Providence. It really has emerged into a college that's quite comprehensive and offering programs from music, theater, dance, to nursing, to social work, and business and entrepreneurship, and really getting out and telling the story of this college is my primary focus.
So if I understood, RIC was basically a teaching school when it was started?
That's right.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
So yeah, it was originally started as Rhode Island Normal School. Yeah, and that meant that it was focused on creating new teachers for the state. But over the years, then it became, in 1920, Rhode Island College of Education, Rice, up until 1960. Then in 1960, it became Rhode Island College. And while today we're still the largest provider of teacher certificates in the state, it's only 17% of our total enrollments.
Wow.
And so that gives you a sense that we've become, as Kim has said, a comprehensive public institution with high quality programs, the liberal arts and the physical sciences, applied technology, business, social work, health sciences, and of course teacher education.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Very good. So would you say business school is number two?
Number two.
In terms of the activity where students are really focused at the school.
So it's interesting, business school without question in past years has grown very rapidly. Just in the last couple of years, for decades, we had a school of management. And when I arrived, I saw the school of management very strong, but again, not noticed. In fact, I think Rhode Island College in general has been one of these best kept secrets, and we have to do a better job telling our story. So now it's going through a full accreditation to be a comprehensive school of business. At the same time, at Rhode Island College, in addition to teacher education, we've seen health sciences become very, very strong in the region, and actually now nationally competitive. Just this past year is just one example. Our School of Nursing students, every nursing graduate has to pass the national exam. This past year, we hit a 100% pass rate on the national exam. In addition to that, we've seen a strengthening program in medical imaging. We also hit a 100% pass rate on the national exam for medical imaging, and are now building a public-private partnership with Lifespan in order to expand the number of graduates to work under Lifespan.
I was going to say, is Lifespan and Brown University the catalyst to that?
Well,
more so?
Actually, I think the market really for medical imaging, we actually have now become among the leading producers of medical imaging certificates and degrees all throughout New England.
Wow. Well, the healthcare industry is where it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when you look at the population in the state, 70% of our graduates stay right here in Rhode Island. They are nurses, they are teachers, they are business owners. One of the things that we really want to highlight about this institution is that Rhode Island College really is preparing the workforce for tomorrow for the state. It really is an engine.
Yep.
Unlike University of Rhode Island, where students come in from out of state, get their degrees, and usually go back to their states or someplace else.
Well, and we're certainly proud that Rhode Island College is really homegrown, and
Yeah.
we're growing the future economy for the state right here using Rhode Island
Right.
students, and so we're excited about that.
Well, I'm sure the governor is too, since her whole platform is about developing a workforce that's marketable.
That's right. Well, more and more businesses, as you know, they're looking to set up shop in states that are producing graduates, producing that talent. And if the promise passes, it'd be great because it's really fueling this engine of economic development. As Kim said, 70% of our graduates stay right here in Rhode Island. So let's
That's
feed that
amazing.
engine and produce more graduates that stay in the state.
Well, I know that there's been a lot of talk lately with the Lifespan and Care New England and some of the other big conglomerate healthcare agencies in New England. I imagine that's got to be good news for Rick, considering what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think any interest and additional investment in the health sciences certainly is of interest to us. We have happened to forge a very good partnership with Lifespan, and we are anticipating we're going to continue in that partnership and perhaps grow it. But I think this healthy competition of other healthcare systems looking at Rhode Island more closely to set up shop should be encouraged.
Now, Rick is in an interesting, geographically, it's in an interesting spot. Do you have room to grow? Or are you going to maybe start looking at expanding that campus?
Yeah. So we have 180 acres just in North Providence and Borders Providence as
Right.
well. So we have plenty of space to grow a little bit more. And right now we have capacity to grow as well. We have about 8,100 students. I think with our existing physical plant, we probably could grow up to about 10,000 before we'd have to start looking seriously at expanding our offerings in other locations. So we have a little bit of growth room.
Yeah, because your PC is not too far away.
Right.
Yeah.
If you have a chance to come on the campus, what you'll see right now is tremendous transformation of the physical plant. There are, with the passage of the recent bond referendum in the fall, Horace Mann Hall is going to be renovated here shortly, but Craig Lee, Gage Hall both have undergone some significant transformation to really bolster the classroom experience for our students. And so when you walk on that campus, you really get this sense of pride and sense of place where students can really be free to explore, not just from a career standpoint, but really begin to see themselves because of the diversity. They're able to come to a place that's small enough where they get to know one another and get to know their faculty and their students, but they're also able to grow intellectually and socially. We're really proud about that at the college.
Yeah. And part of the work that has, I think, really helped the conversation at Rhode Island College has been looking at the leadership, the diversity of the leadership, the executive team, and the diversity of our faculty. When I arrived 3 years ago, I was the racial and ethnic diversity of the leadership team. Now I'm very proud to say that we're 55% women on the executive team and 45% professionals of color. And we've had to steal good people like from the state of Maryland and Kim over, but
that's a good
these
thing.
are exceptional professionals who understand their trade, understand higher ed, and have created a much more robust, very thoughtful conversation about how to lead this institution. In addition to that, this past year we saw the most ethnically and racially diverse cohort of faculty in the history of the college. And so we're making great strides. Today, every single search for a faculty member, a staff member, must go through implicit bias training beforehand, before it's even approved to go through the search. And I think that's helped a lot in educating people about natural biases we have, and I think is helping to create much more robust pools and ultimately more robust individuals that are being hired at the college.
How did you come up with that plan?
Well, I think
It's
these are some of the practices that we're seeing all over the country. You know, a lot of higher education institutions will say, well, gosh, we just can't find good professionals of color.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
all heard this,
Sure,
right?
sure.
Well, they're out there. We all know this. All over the country, you have to find a better way of finding them. And so we've worked very, very hard through national networks, through relationships, through relationships with national associations and national organizations to really bring about the very, very best candidates and pools for the college. And it's been, I'm very happy to say it's been very, very successful for the college.
Very good. So Kimberly, in your role, in your office, do you have additional staff, or is it you and?
Oh no, absolutely. The staff, our team in advancement, and by extension with the foundation, university's foundation or college's foundation, really work together to promote engagement of our alumni, with our students, with our faculty, our entire RIC community, but also with regard to marketing and communications. We're really going to see in the coming weeks and months of ramping up, if you will, of really telling the story of the college, of its strengths, of its impact in the community, and all of the team, really. I sit here representing tens of other staff on campus that are doing this work.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about the alumni. How active are they?
Our alumni are tremendously active. Rhode Island College has over 60,000 alumni, and as I said earlier, 70% of them stay in the state. We were just looking at some data prior to coming here. While most of our alumni live in the state, you might be surprised to know that we've got alumni in Texas, in Florida, in Connecticut, certainly in Massachusetts, but we're looking at strategies to really reach out to those alumni and to get them involved and to maintain that level of involvement with the campus. Last year, during our retreat and planning for the upcoming fiscal year, we developed what we call anchor strategies for engaging our alumni. And anchors is an acronym. It's advocate, it's network, contribute, help, organize, recruit, and serve. And so through each of those strategies, we're looking to engage alumni more fully in the life of the college.
Very good. And are they financially supportive?
They are, increasingly so. And what I'll tell you, too, we've had a recent success with our college gala. The work of the foundation was tremendous in really bringing that to fruition. But we're seeing more and more people getting involved, more and more alumni getting involved and really getting energized and excited. One of the words that we've really been using on campus quite a bit is momentum. There's a great deal of momentum that's been building, not just because of the president's leadership and the rest of the team, but really the enthusiasm about what this college means and how distinctive it is in the landscape here in Rhode Island.
Yeah, there's a momentum and I think a real optimism that people are feeling. Kim mentioned the gala. You know, a year ago we had about 220 people participate in our annual gala. This year we had well over 450 people attend our gala. And whether it's that example or we launched a chapter, a new alumni chapter in Florida a couple years ago.
Really?
You know, we have 2,200 alumni across Florida. And as we've gone out there and started spending time, there's such an energy and excitement and a willing to invest because this college transformed so many lives, so many alumni. In fact, I've heard the story, if it wasn't for Rhode Island College, I'm not sure what would have happened to me and my family or frankly my life. And so there's a lot of people who are just thankful for the opportunity to be able to go to college at Rhode Island College and do want to give back to now the future and where we're going.
Well, Florida has always been known as the place for Rhode Islanders to retire to. So,
Right.
so
That's
I
right.
guess that follows that you have so many alum there.
That's right.
What is interesting, too, though, is that 62% of our alumni graduated after 1990, which lets us
Wow.
know that we have a significant pipeline of
That's pretty young.
new graduates
Yeah.
that can really contribute to the longevity and the sustainability of the campus. And so through various programming opportunities and just communication methods, we're going to make sure that regardless of where you are in your alumni journey, that you continue to find value in this institution. We, colleges and universities always talk about lifelong learning. And so Rhode Island College really can provide an opportunity for our graduates to be involved well after they've crossed across the stage and come back and serve as mentors to current students to take advantage themselves of career empowerment opportunities that can really help prepare them for the next steps of their career journey.
In fact, I think it was 2 years ago you had a diversity seminar at the college. I actually attended, and you had a lady, I've forgotten her name, she was from a Boston school, and she came down talking about her mentoring program.
Yes. Yes, the Dialogue on Diversity
Right.
program, which we've had now well over 25 years at the college. Every year, I think it's so important, particularly a school like Rhode Island College, as we're seeing the changing demographics of the state, that we have very serious and very focused conversations about how we build a sense of community, a sense of belonging, and educate ourselves on how to best support and guide a changing demographic of the state. I think a state college like Rhode Island College plays a key leadership role in many of those conversations. And so the program you're referring to, Dialogue on Diversity, is something we do every year.
You know, I think for some reason, now, well, Rhode Island has, what, 7 or 8 colleges and universities, if
A
not
little
more?
bit more than that.
Yeah,
I was gonna
public
say
and
maybe
private.
it's 9
yeah.
or 10, right? But the bottom line is that when you say Rhode Island College, I guess my first thought, or a lot of people's first thought, is this is a private school, not a state school. But it is a state school.
Yes.
And we tend to forget that, unlike PC. So being a state school and having the support of the legislature in the state, I guess financially you're in probably a better shape than maybe some of the other schools who don't have that backup, so to speak.
Yeah, you know, we've seen nationally a lot of private schools are struggling. Small privates are struggling, particularly. I think this past year there's already been 12 closures of small private schools. So the state support, without question, is very, very helpful. But some of the work we have to do, and Kim alluded to it a little bit earlier, we have to do a better job telling our story. And through her leadership, we're going to be launching essentially a brand campaign to reintroduce Rhode Island College across the state, in the region, really talking about the quality, the excellence, the innovation, and really talking to the families that we serve in the region. And it's you know, something we need to just put more time, energy, and resources into. In fact, over the last 24 months, we put in a state-of-the-art database just to begin tracking more of our alum and friends of the college. We just haven't done that work very well. And so more time and energy and resources into business intelligence systems and to data collection so that we can make better decisions and ultimately steward taxpayers' dollars far better than we have before.
Very good. You know, as a poor kid myself, I got an opportunity to go to school on a sports scholarship. Where's Rick on scholarships in sports? I mean, do we have a robust sports program or athletic program?
We do. We have a very robust Division III athletic program, 22 sports. Now, because it's Division III, we can't offer scholarships.
Okay.
So it really is the spirit of the student athlete. I mean, these students, they love that being competitive as athletes, but we make clear to them as part of the values of Rhode Island College, you're going to put classroom and the classroom experience first. You know, we're going to have high expectations of you academically excelling, but also excelling on the court or on the field or on the mat. But one other thing, and this is to the credit of Don Tench, our athletic director, he has also made sure that all of our student athletes commit to service as well. And so this past semester, for example, we had 2,200 hours of service out in the community because that's what we believe is a well-rounded graduate Rhode Island College, and certainly for our student athletes.
Good way of branding, too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the other thing, Peter, is that so many of our students are first-generation college students, and when they come to campus, we understand that this is new for the student and for their families. And so putting together through the work of our team in student success, the types of services that really wrap around that student to make sure that they're able to navigate through not just the academic work that has to be done on a day-to-day basis, but also getting used to being on their own and the independence that comes with being a college student.
Social action, sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very important. And I went off to school to Vermont myself when I was a youngster, and I happened to be the freshman year I was there. I was the only African American male on campus, which was kind of an interesting experience. Good one, I might say, but definitely. So I can imagine kids who are first generation have an opportunity to go to Rick and learn and be exposed,
Absolutely.
which is really the big
Well,
key.
that's been a big part of our legacy. Even this coming fall, nearly 47% of our entering class will be students who are the first in their family to get a college education. Nearly 50% will come from some of the most modest means, being Pell eligible for federal aid, modest means income. And once again, this is why we're trying to make this very strong case for the promise at Rhode Island College. Not only will it be available for all Rhode Islanders, but in particular, I think it'll support the middle class, blue collar, working class families of Rhode Island.
Well, sounds like it.
If you think about it, if you come from poor income families, you have access to federal financial aid, whether it's Pell Grants, subsidized loans.
Sure.
If you come from high income, you have choices of where to send your kid to college or universities, public, private. When you have high income, you have a lot of choices. But I tell you what, Peter, if you're in the middle class, it is getting increasingly difficult to pay for college because you make too much money to get federal aid and you don't have the type of resources to have a bunch of choices. So sometimes it's a conversation of whether or not you can afford a higher education degree. What this legislation tells middle class, working class families in Rhode Island that, hey, if your son or daughter is willing to work hard, you know what, the state's going to step up and help pay half of that college tuition fees. And so I think it's extremely attractive to, again, the middle class, working class families of Rhode Island. They deserve a quality education that's affordable. And in many ways, the Rhode Island College Promise right-sizes tuition in Rhode Island. It's still $20,000, which is, that's still a lot of money.
It is.
But for a college education, it really is unheard of.
Right, it is. I have to commend you both on what you're doing at Rhode Island College because, as I said, we talked in the green room, things have changed, and we need to get that word out. I don't know, the best way to do that, I guess you're working with the alum and redoing your rebranding program.
Well, working with good people like yourself and giving us the
appreciate
opportunity to talk about it.
Well, absolutely, and I wish we had more time to talk about it. Half hour goes
Another
by
show.
real fast.
Another show.
No, definitely, and I'd like to have you back and we can talk some more about what's going on at Rick.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe right after fall as our new numbers come in. Love to sit down with you.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Listen, we have run out of time, but I want to thank today's guests, President Sanchez and Kimberly Conway Dumpston of Rhode Island College, and you, the viewers, for tuning in to another segment of In Another Opinion. A special thanks to PBS for making this program possible. I'm your host, Peter Wells. Give us your opinion on Facebook or Twitter at In Another Opinion, and have a great day.
The Rhode Island Foundation, partnering with passionate Rhode Islanders to lead, transform, and inspire our state. Learn more at rhodeislandfoundation.org.